What's up, you guys? Cece back with another video. Welcome or welcome back. So hey girl, hey, it's your girl Cece. I'm just a regular girl trying to live a fit girl's lifestyle, and welcome back to my channel. You guys, my last video I posted was a video of the half marathon, and first of all, I just appreciate the love on that video. Second, that was literally the hardest thing I've probably ever done in my life, and I've given birth to 3 children, okay? That was pretty tough, but I have a whole list of things I want to talk to you guys about here on this phone. So we're just going to chat about what my experience was like, how I felt about it, and the burning question, would I do it again? So if you're thinking about doing a half marathon and you just nosy and want to hear how my experience went, stay tuned. And y'all, clearly we are outside. It is summertime finally in Ohio. So we're outside. So if you hear some wind, I have the mic in, but if you hear some wind, that's what it is, girl. So just give it a little grace. All right. So my first thought here, we did it, right? I did it. I finished it. We finished the race in 2 hours and 47 minutes. Oh, it's about 2 weeks post race, by the way. But we finished the race in 2 hours and 47 minutes. And my goal was just to finish. I didn't have a goal on what time I wanted to finish in. I didn't have a goal for anything. I just wanted to finish, and I didn't want the race to feel unbearable. So that was my goal. I finished. So I did that. Unbearable? I think that'd be a little dramatic if I were to say that, but it was definitely tough, and we'll talk about some of those tough points. The one thing I loved, the race vibes were so good. Like, the vibes were just pretty awesome. It was just so many excited people ready to run, people of all fitness levels. Like, I had a friend who ran it. She ran it in 2 hours and like 9 minutes or something like that. Like I said, I ran it in 2 hours and 47 minutes. And there were just people of all fitness levels, all types of people just there for the running vibes. Like, everybody was super cool. Everybody was just super happy to be there with the DJ and the music. And we're all just kind of hanging out and having a good time. And like, I think that really made the race as fun as it was, because like, there's nothing fun about running 13 miles, but I think just being out there in the atmosphere, seeing all the people, that really made the race fun, and just kind of encouraging each other. Like, you're running next to people, encouraging each other. It is not easy to run a half marathon or a marathon. Both were running simultaneously. Let me tell you, there were people that were finishing the marathon as I was finishing the half marathon. Like, you're a goddamn beast if you finish 26.2 miles in less than 3 hours. Like, what? If you finish it at all, you a goddamn beast. But if you finishing it the same time I'm finishing a half marathon, girl, bye. Like, once we got to mile 12, the roads split up, and so the half marathoners went back toward the finish line, and then the marathoners, they like kept looping. And I was like, girl, this the moment I would have probably switched what race I was running, baby. I would have been like, yeah, half marathon, here I come. All right. But yeah, just really cool vibes, really cool atmosphere. The weather couldn't have been better. So we're downtown, which Cleveland's downtown is right on the lake, and so it gets a little more windy, but that worked to our advantage. Like, it was a little cool at the beginning of the day, but like, as we were standing there waiting for the race, but once we got moving, the weather was perfect. I bought those arm sleeves, as you guys saw in the last video. Before we even got to mile 1, I took those off and put them in my vest, because I was like, it's too hot for that. The weather could not have been better. Like, 60s is perfect running weather. It's not too cold, not too hot. That is perfection for running. And it was just absolutely amazing. All right, so let's talk a little bit about, let me turn this face track off. Let's talk a little bit about the course. So every like half marathon course is going to be different, obviously, depending on where you're doing the race. So we did our race downtown Cleveland, and we have a relatively flat downtown. So the course was actually really pleasant. We kind of sailed through the first 6 miles. I've never run 6 miles straight, and we ran like the first like 5.8 miles or something like that. And so that's when I took my first walk break, because we started to do a little uphill. So, For the most part, there were a couple of uphills, but nothing too crazy. A lot of it was either flat and then some of it was downhill, which was really cool. And I felt like that really made my first half marathon experience better than it being like a very hilly terrain, because those inclines, baby, those inclines are hell, especially when you've already ran 7 miles or 8 miles or whatever the case. When you've already been running and then somebody wants you to run uphill, baby, absolutely not. So the terrain is perfect. It's such an easy course, and I definitely appreciate that as my first race. Now, as you guys know, I did train for this. Probably could have trained a little better, but I did train for the half marathon. So I was running 3 to 4 times a week, and that was 2 runs at OrangeTheory, and then that was like 2 outdoor runs or treadmill runs depending on the weather. So I ran quite a lot. The weather was pretty crappy like the week and a half leading up to the race, so those were mostly treadmill runs, but yeah, I stayed on my running plan for the most part, and I went up in miles every week. So I think we started at like 5 miles, and then the next week went up to 6, 7, 8, 9, and finished at 10 miles. 10 miles was my longest run before the half marathon, and that was pretty tough to get through the 10 miles. So I do have a vlog where I vlogged that run if you guys want to see it, but it was pretty tough to get through the 10 miles. But I feel like once you hit 10 miles, like that last 5K, you're really just trying to push through either way. Like once you get through that first 10, you like, I got 5K to go. Like, what am I going to do? Stop now? I already hit 10 miles. Like, what? I'm going to stop now? No, I can't. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, so I did train for this. I do recommend, if you're going to do a half marathon, that you do some kind of training, especially if you're not a runner like me. You do some kind of training, because that will just make the race, again, not be super miserable. It's going to be hard. It's going to be grueling. It's going to be a fight to the end, but it doesn't have to be completely miserable if you do some training. Crossing the finish line was probably the most accomplished I've felt, I don't know, since I've graduated college. Like crossing that finish line, just knowing that it was me versus me out there. I think sometimes we measure our success like in competition wise, like, oh, I beat this person at this, or I won that race, or I got that raise, or I did this thing, where it's like here, like running, something I love about running is it's you versus you. Like if you have the grit to run for 3 hours straight, you can do pretty much anything. Running is not easy to anyone. I feel like I don't care who you are, running is not an easy thing to do. So if you can like mentally get in your head and say you gonna keep your ass running, like you gonna stay on this course, you're gonna do this thing, I really feel like you can break through and do absolutely anything. And so crossing that finish line was just, it was one of the most proud moments of my life. I thought I was gonna cry, but I didn't. But it was one of the most proud moments of my life, because I set a goal and I did the thing. And like I'm telling you, like crossing goals off of your list just feels so good. And again, this one required months of dedication, months of training. It required, like, it was mentally hard. And to be able to do that, if you can push your mind past its limits, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. Okay, so let's answer a few questions that I got. I don't want this video to be super long. I've been talking forever, but I'm going to answer a few of the questions that I got for you guys. Okay, so one of the questions that I got was, how do you fuel before and during the race? So carbs, all right? So starting like 3 days before, I started to carb load, and most of my meals included more carbs than they would normally include. And that is really because the carbs are what's going to give you the energy. Like that's how you're going to keep fueling. And if you only do that the night before, you're probably not getting the maximum benefit of really doing a carb load. So I was researching, I started 3 days before, and I felt like that really helped me because I didn't feel like I hit a wall during the race. And then what also helped me not hit a wall during the race was the fuel that I had during the race. So I packed my vest with a ton of fuel before the race, and I ended up, like, I got these energy chews, and so I ended up taking a full pack of the energy chews, and I did that like every 3 to 4 miles, and not a full pack every 3 to 4 miles, like 3 or 4, 2 or 3. 2 or 3. I think I did 3 every 3 to 4 miles, and that was super helpful. And then I stopped twice at the water stations just to get a little bit of water. But other than that, the energy chews were really all I needed. I didn't need anything past that. I did have some gels with me. I had some salt sticks, but I had the energy chews. I had some electrolytes before I left the house, and I also had a breakfast. It was like a protein breakfast sandwich, which also had carbs in it, and I felt like that was the perfect amount of fuel. So you have to know your body, and I feel like knowing your fuel plan and planning your fuel is really helpful while you're training. So as you're running those longer runs, when you're running a 10 miler or a 6 miler or whatever, figure out how your body feels and how you need to fuel during your long runs. Like, I felt like I hit a wall during our 10 miler because I didn't fuel at all, because I wasn't used to fueling. But I didn't hit a wall during the 13 miler, I think, because I fueled throughout. It's really hard to come out of hitting the wall. And if you just proactively fuel, you'll never hit that wall and you won't have to worry about it. All right, so what shoes do I wear? I wear for outdoor runs, I wear the Hoka Arahi 7s. I do want to try some new shoes. Like, I've heard good things about the Nike Vomeros, I think. So I do want to try some new shoes, like maybe when the summer ends. But the Hokas, I bought those like at the beginning of last summer when I first started running, and they've done me well. I don't like them for treadmill runs, but for outdoor running, those are my go-to preferred shoes. I have 2 pair. They feel really good, really comfortable on the feet, and I love those. I need a stability shoe, so that was one of the preferred stability shoes last year, and so that's the one I chose. I think they're on like the Arahi 8s now, but I like the Arahi 7s. The next question I pulled was, did I ever hit a wall? Like I said, I think I fueled well, so I didn't really hit a wall, but mile 11 like sucked the soul out of me. Mile 11, when I got past mile 10, I feel like I was fine mile 10. And then once I hit mile 11, I was like, I can't do this any longer. Like, I'm not gonna make it. And so I walked a lot of mile 11, not a lot. I probably walked, I don't know, like a quarter mile of mile 11, just because I was so tired. And then I like picked it up as we got like maybe close to halfway to through the mile. I picked it up, and then we got to mile 12. I ran the entire mile 12. So there was also a water station right there, like right when you started mile 11. So I wanted to get some water. So that's what made me like walk that probably quarter mile, but I was so tired. So I was super tired mile 11. That's when I really was like, I need this to be over today, right now, this second, or else I'm not gonna make it. That was also the point where I was like, if I walk again, I'm done. Like, I'm not going to be able to pick my legs up to start running because my legs just felt so heavy. So so many feelings at that time. Any regrets or things I would do differently? Let's see. I don't know if I have any regrets. I like I said before, maybe train a little bit more, but I don't know if I have any regrets. I think I did everything to the best of my ability and the best of my knowledge, being a beginner runner, and I think it went as well as it was gonna go, if I'm being completely honest. If you're someone who has to pee a lot, make sure you pee before the race. Like, Mark had to go to those porta potties before the race, but they do have like toilets throughout the race that you can go to. But I mean, I wasn't trying to go to none of them. So baby, I used the bathroom before we left the house, but you know. Something I did right, and this isn't something I did wrong, but something I feel like I did right was I started at a slower pace. So I didn't feel like I was going to burn myself out too quickly. So I wanted to intentionally start a bit slower so I didn't burn myself out. And I feel like I did that really well. So think about that, starting a little slower. Let me see. Another question I got. What was my motivation? Finish this shit as fast as you possibly can. That was my motivation, to be done. Especially, like I said, when we got to like mile 10 and 11, legs started to feel heavy. Finish it. Be done. You're finished. Let's get done. You got to make it to the finish line. You're there. I don't know if I had one particular phrase, but it was just, You said you was gonna do this, get the shit done. All right, let's get into some best practices and just some race tips that I have in general. I wrote some down for you guys. Hydration and nutrition is key. Like I already told you, you want to start early. Don't skip the electrolytes. Don't skip the carbs. Listen to your body before the race and give your body what it wants and what it needs. Mental prep. We talk a lot about physical prep, but mental prep goes right along with that. When you do those long runs when you're prepping for this race, that is what's going to help train your mind and push your mind that your body can keep going, right? Once your mind like starts to be out of it and tell you to stop, your body's going to try to follow suit. So you prepping during those long runs, during those 8 milers, those 9 milers, those 10 milers, that's when you train your mind that you can keep going, that this is nothing, that you got this. Like that is how you train your mind. So once you don't let your mental go, because once you let your mental go, your body will follow. So you have to train your mind the same way you're training your body for races like this. Your gear. Don't wear nothing new on race day. No new shoes, no new, like those arm sleeves I wore. They were cool at first, but then they kind of kept rolling down a little bit. And that's kind of part of the reason I took them off too, but it was also getting hot. But yeah, so don't wear nothing new on race day, baby. Plan your outfit. Know that you feel comfortable in it. Know that you've worn it before. Know how it's going to feel during long runs. Nothing new. Nothing new. Pace yourself. We already talked about this but just pace yourself. You ain't why are you trying to run a 6-minute mile and you know that ain't what you normally run? Why are you trying to run a 6-minute mile 1? You know you're not going to be able to keep that up and you're going to burn yourself out. Like start off, even if you got to start off a little slower, pace yourself at the beginning of that race because it will get hard. It will get hard. And then recovery. Make sure you build in some time for recovery. Stretch, hydrate, take a nap. Just rest your legs afterwards. Oh, rest your legs afterwards. Let's talk a little bit about that. Let's move into kind of some post-race reflection here to round this out. So my body felt like I had never run before in my life. This is just right after the race. That whole day, so Sunday, the day of the race, we were done and it got to the point, like I told you, I got to the point at the end of the race where I was like, I can't walk or else I'm just gonna stop. Like my legs won't move anymore. Like I won't be able to pick my legs up to run if I stop running right now. So I kept running through the last mile and a half. Cool. But once I stopped, when I got to the finish line, it was so hard to take a single step. It took forever to make it back to the car. My quads, my calves, everything hurt so bad. Mark said his feet hurt really bad, my husband, because he ran it with me. But everything, my whole leg, both legs just hurt so bad. It took us so long to walk back to the car because our legs were in so much pain. Well, my legs, his feet were in so much pain. And it got to the point where it was just, walking up the stairs, trying to sit on the toilet. Our bed is a little high in our bedroom, trying to get in the bed. It was a nightmare. The day of, and our girls had a soccer game. So we had to pull ourselves out of bed after our nap and take them to soccer and sit in the crowd. And my husband is the coach of the soccer team. So legs were bad that same day. But when I went to sleep and woke up the next day, I was still very sore. I was still walking a little funny, but it was much better. I went grocery shopping the next day. I was perfectly fine. But that same day, legs were in pain. The whole day until I went to sleep and woke up. Pain. I think that was the most surprising for me because my legs have never felt like that. And I was like, shit, I've run 10 miles. I've run 9 miles, no problem. Whatever. My legs have never felt like that. Baby, I don't know what it was, but the legs were not working. I think that was what surprised me the most. Would I do it again? The debate is still out on that. I would have to see how my body feels throughout the year to see if I would sign up again. I am definitely going to sign up for the Cleveland 10K next year. The half? I don't know. I didn't enjoy it that much to where I felt like, oh my God, I got to do another one, right? So I think people will be like, oh, that was so exhilarating. That was so fun. it was cool and I'm so happy I did it, but am I happy enough to do it again? Jury's still out on that. Now, I say all that to say crossing the finish line made it all worth it. It made the recovery and the legs hurting. It made all the long runs that I didn't want to go on. It made all of that worth it. It proves to me that I can do hard things. It proved to me that I can set a goal and say, I'm going to do that shit and I'm going to crush that shit. And you don't have to be the fastest. You don't have to be the best runner. You just got to put one foot in front of the other. That's one of the things that I appreciate about running. I don't need a gym. I don't need any fancy equipment. The only thing you need is some good running shoes, okay? Because you don't want to hurt your back or your legs or your feet, But that's the only thing you need. Other than that, the open road is your oyster and anyone can run. If I can finish this, you can do this. You can finish this. And it don't have to be a half. It could be a 5K. It could be a 10K. Whatever you want it to be. It could be 1 mile. One step, just take it, And that is what this taught me the most. It wasn't about the distance. It wasn't about the physical aspect of it. It's really more about the mental aspect. All right, so that's tea. That's the post-race tea. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're planning on running a half marathon, 10K, 5K, 1 mile, or whatever it is, I hope this was helpful for you. Hope this gave you some helpful tips. If you just came here to hear me chat about the race, then I still hope you took something out of it. If nothing else, baby, your mind can do so much more than your body thinks you can. It can, I promise. Let me know if you plan on running a race soon, if you plan on running a 5K, a mile, a 10K, like I keep saying, half marathon. Let me know if you're planning on running a race. I would love to know which race you're running. And if you guys have any post-race tips for them down below in the comments, y'all know I'm no expert, so down below, let's have a little conversation about all of our favorite post-run tips, and I would love yours as well, just in case I decide to sign up for another one, all right? Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you. Thank you for going on this half marathon journey with me. I don't know what journey we'll be on next, but we'll be talking about that in the next video. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.